Eric, can you do the honor, sir?
Get up. If you're wearing a hat, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, as a courtesy, I'm giving you a fair notice. My day was something else, so I played hooky on it. So, I don't have my papers always set up the way I would like. But in the meantime, what's going on with the computer sites? Computer, anything noticeable approaching on 075? 075? Have you heard that yet?
Evidently not. But the board members told me these things, Dennis.
If I had email that was operational, I could have. And a phone that also worked.
I'm going to say, I'm available on this one and I'm available on that one.
This one did not work for over half the day.
What about the second one on the chest?
I don't have your phone call. I found out I do.
And you want to take this one? You might want to say it.
Not where I was.
There's also this repeater up
That wasn't in my part of the world today. So I just have to raise it.
There's also this repeater up on the mountain that can help you get a hold of somebody who couldn't get a hold of them.
I was in my personal vehicle today, the one that's not allowed to have a radio unless I steal it, which I did this afternoon. Anything else there that you?
No, the
Okay, so there's.
we did get good comments on the full duplex packet repeater. It's been being tested for quite some time now, including down in Mexico. So we did some work on it earlier this year. It's turned out to be very, very well. Thanks to John, I2S for rebuilding, Don and Joe for climbing the tower to do an antenna repair. 700 full duplex package working wonderfully now.
Art with the help
Art,
of getting
yes,
us split off the other antenna.
Yep.
So it's, quite a few people helped. We need more people to be in the helping mode of learning how to do this. So that would be nice. Anything on our computer site? Don?
I have no news information on the repeater site.
Okay. There is some news from Sandark. They have informed us that they are going to revise the bylaws again. So instead of doing a correction to modify to comply with quarterly type issues, there's some wholesale rewrites in there to include getting rid of the protections on the money. Right now there's a protection on the money that anything over $300 needs to be going through the system of prepared, presented, sent back to the clubs, and then brought back to Sandark for a vote.
Well, it's even worse than that, Dennis. They're getting away from the delegates' rights of the clubs to actually have votes in there too.
There are many things going on. So there's going to be some commentary on that. That is, some of the actions they're taking don't really think are really beneficial to the clubs, their members, and to Sandark itself. Next meeting is going to be in October. So there is a little while before that. And they will probably have a special meeting. This is what they said. They'll have a special meeting for the bylaws in November. Then again, they went to quarterly meetings because they felt they had too many meetings. So, I don't know. Picnic. Hey, Brad, where you at the picnic, were you?
I wasn't at the picnic, so I'll let you give a recap.
But you did.
But thank you everyone for attending.
So went to the picnic, went down to the county park. Had a good time down there. Lots of people showed up. I'd like to see lots more people here in the future, so we're going to try and promote. This is something to help gain familiarity between the members, the membership, and have fun while doing it. There was a T-Hunt radio that was put out there. Don set that out. A couple people went out and searched for it and found it.
So what was with that? What did kids wear to find it? Bad in the rest of us.
Maybe because they're good.
So,
The future generation is gonna come in and take us all.
Maybe because it was a kid that hit it.
I'm not sure that was true, but okay. It was interesting, we brought down the HF equipment down there, set it up. Ron, I know I saw Ron in the car earlier today. Ron around? Okay. Ron brought, the twins, what were they? They weren't Collins, or something else.
They were Collins.
Were they Collins?
Yes.
Brought down a couple of Collins down there, and he talked to his friend over in Arizona with no problem on 40 meters.
Talked to Kansas with no problem either.
Yeah, and we talked on 20 meters to Oklahoma a couple of times, and kind of got stuck. Minor details with aged equipment that you go out and use on a regular basis even. Plugged it in, everything's fine, all hooked up, everything's ready to go. You turn on the power switch and the light comes on and goes off. That was the day. But it was still pointed out to the northeast, so I was able to talk a little bit out there. We had a good day out there. Poway, Mike, I know we've had a recap in the paper, but give us that final one.
Sure. It's pretty old news by now, but we did win the battle in Poway. We have 65 feet with just a building permit. You have to get the building permit, you have to notify your neighbors with an advisory vote within 250 feet. Advisory is fine with us as long as they don't have a way to stop you, which they don't. Lots of exempt antennas. All of our antennas are exempt except our Yagi tower. So that's good too. And then we figured there'd be a number, but there isn't. So we're happy with that. And the council, feedback from the council so far is, I never want to hear about that again.
You belong to the Green Valley Association?
I do. But I never hear from them. They never ask me how they should vote. They just do vote the way the board thinks they should vote.
Your board?
We're redesigning our system to go to 65 feet. As soon as September 19th rolls around, we can do it.
I thought Gail was at 75. You're at 35? I thought you were 75. Okay. Oh, yeah, but there's no restriction about in-use only?
And what?
Is there a
Oh,
restriction on in-use only?
no, they put that to bed long ago. But one of the proposals, two proposals from the Green Valley Association was one, you put it up when you're using it, taking it down when you're not using it. The other one, which was even more ridiculous, was you can only put it above 35 feet when it is declared emergency.
Now, you gotta remember, one of our people in Poway put the radio antenna up there, and they're supposed to be taken down on a daily basis when it's not in use. And the complaint was, it never got taken down. Well, there was a reason for it. The radio was always in use because it was stored for Hackett. So it was always in operation. It's always in use. They didn't plan ahead for it. Gail did. Very good.
But they did get her with the, after she put up her little diagram of the house and the stick coming up and a little Yagi at the top, she hung an 8040 converted V on it, and they said, that's not the drawing, start over again. So I took that down and hung it from the tree, but that's going back up too. At 65 feet.
and it's got fluorescent color too, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll have some fluorescent tubes on, so when we put the kilowatt on, they all glow.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Up here in Oceanside, Tom's going to need some help on the 13th or 14th of this month. He's going to be kicked out of his apartment for a few days because they don't want him breathing bad fumes. So I don't know if he's going down to the beach for a few days or where he's going, but he needs to get his antennas taken down so they can temp the building. And he'll be allowed to get back in there in a couple of days and we'll be able to get those antennas back up. Sure. So Tom's looking for help. Dawn, I think, is going to help coordinate that, the 13th or the 14th. So you might hear it on the radio or somewhere else. I don't know where this thing's going, but I got another one here. Send it around somewhere. Yeah, plus there's another page I haven't seen yet. Sandar, again, has a quadrennial, I think, convention. That's going to be held the 12th, 13th, and 14th down at Sheridan Four Points in San Diego on Arrow Drive. Carneyville Road. So if you want to go down to the airport and you want to get some buzzing around over there, you know, you'll get some extra hump.
How many speaking spots available too?
There might be.
I counted around 12.
All right. There's also some people that are giving presentations that have been now notified. I hope. So they'll be down there. There's supposed to be quite a few things going on. Scouts are going down there. Yes.
Yep.
Scouts are going down there. They're going to have bear badge. Possibly go down and get some testing for tech. And going to get those scouts on the floor so they see all the nice little toys for us to help their parents spend their money.
I gotta reiterate, that's thanks to Sandra for giving them space there. Sandra was not able to make any room, Sandra really needed space.
Santa provided a room for them to meet. Okay. Let's see.
Harry is doing 2 presentations.
Excuse me?
Harry is doing 2 of the presentations.
Harry, I probably doing IOTA and,
At the convention.
yes.
Yeah, I'm on the docket on Saturday 2 times, 10 a.m. I think once, and then 2 o'clock in the afternoon. First one is what I've called, for all the years I've done it, DXing 101. What is DX, how do you define DX, how do you work DX, and how do you get the awards for having worked it? The afternoon session is going to be the Radio Society of Great Business program called IOTA, Islands on the Air. And for example, there was an island today that if you work, there were 2 islands actually. If you work them, you got credits for New Caledonia, there's DXCC, and there's 2 different islands for IOTA. The only problem was that they just barely be heard. So what you need to do is have is maybe 20,000 watts of power and a large antenna.
You can't always go and borrow heroines.
Is that what people are doing in my lot next to
Well, you know, if you keep having that rig and it's shining in the middle of the night, you're not the only one that gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning for those. So, okay. We got several other people, I believe, that are going to be giving presentations.
I'll see you Friday afternoon.
I think Dennis is doing one too.
Yeah, my Mars is a Vietnam resident seat and I have around tomatoes. 3 blocks out of
I could order some tomatoes. Okay. Should I put Torrig's in?
bring mozzarella and pizza crust.
Big Torrig's. Okay, that'll be a good thing. Some things we got coming up. Joda, Jamboree on the Air, should be November, if I'm right. Down in Charlie's area of the woods, Poway. Kevin's going to help get the scouts together, and we're going to do another one of those events down there for them.
I got September 17th to go to.
Okay, so I'm wrong. I hope you're faster than I am.
October 7th, sorry.
Okay, then you have another month to go get it. All right, thank you. Take another day to get the turtle. Some upcoming events is Harbor Days, I think, will be in September 27th, 28th. Got to talk to Joe some more, make sure everything is in the final on that. We actually have been invited, although we paid for it, to the Carlsbad Street Fair. So another 100,000 people, of your closest friends, are going to cuddle in next to each other, and we'll have a chance to demonstrate or educate about amateur radio out there.
That's what, November 2nd?
November 2nd. It'll be in May. So it's That's Sunday, right?
That's Saturday.
Okay.
It says Sunday.
Maybe it is something.
My clock says Sunday.
And it's Sunday. It's the second, I know that.
Okay, am I right there? Okay. We have an operating day tentatively scheduled for November 23rd, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. Hopefully we'll be able to go to Fry's. And there is a maker fair coming up sometime if you'd like to go out and show all these guys that are somewhat inclined like we are. Would amateur radio help provide for them, or they help provide for us? Not sure a date on that. That seems to be floating right now. December 6th?
What's the date on that operating day?
I believe it should be November 23rd, the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So I'll put the qualifier in there because I can't count.
That's correct.
Yes, I know I can't count. That's why I have shoes with toes in them. Well, that's another story. Okay,
I got one more event for you.
might as well. Yeah, we got runs coming up too.
We got runs, yes. All these endurance runners who may do psychological evaluation at the end of the event. They will be doing a 50K on September 20th and a 100K on October 4th. This is up in the Laguna Mountains. We go up there all the time, provide the radio communications up there since pretty much there is no cell coverage. So the only way to make sure people are safe and accounted for is with ham radio. So if you're interested in volunteering for that, my call sign, KG6JEI at Amstead, or I'll be over in the corner here somewhere.
Okay. Are there any other items from the floor tonight? I see a few of them. Sorry, here, closest one.
Trying to find good homes for this stuff. I brought some personal items and some club donations. Do not want to take it home if I don't absolutely have to. So anyway, come over here, grab some stuff. I'm willing to make a deal. A lot of it's club donations, so it's like, just feeding the kitty. If you really want to, if you want to really help the club out, well, come over and buy some club donation stuff. And then I don't have to worry about it after that point. Nice Johnson matchbox here. Some of these are a little pricey, I think, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, good old classic radios. And for those who can't read or see or do anything, well, this is a working magnifier light. So just trying to, like I said, trying to find good homes for this stuff.
A couple of antennas up in the front.
Yeah.
6 meter beam, 6 meter.
No, it says 2 to 50. I don't understand how that works.
Well, this one's a 6 meter beam. Yeah, 6 meter droopy, and what one is this, Rich? Which one is it?
That's from 6 to 8 meters.
And was that disco or some vertical? Vertical? Okay. Who's going to go high in the air? 26 feet? Yeah, that's not bad. You still get under 35 feet. Okay. Yes, sir.
Just asking for help from the club, if anybody knows anything about the remote rigs. I just got the TS480HX, and I bought the remote rig pair that you can put on those, and I've got them programmed to a point where they work at home using cords. But I just put together the Wi-Fi in it, and I'm having a little problem stumbling around with it. And maybe somebody over there that knows a lot about computers can tell me, but if anybody has any experience with the remote rigs, at remoterig.com and all that stuff, let me know. Good, thank you very much.
All right.
Name's here is Ken, by the way.
Okay. Yes, Mike.
Poway Days is this Saturday. We're going to have a booth over at the community park along with ENEC group. So we're going to be talking about ham radio, emergency, and community service. And they're going to be talking about their organization, which is an information gathering and distribution system.
To fly away. want some, I still have some, but I can try and make arrangements to get there.
Sure.
And then we'll just pick up the 2 boxes, we'll send it there, and then when you're done, we'll bring it back. Okay, got it. Remember,
Yeah, we're bringing highway express over there.
okay, you know where Mike lives, right? Somewhere close to your store.
Are you, yeah, you know where Gail is?
I work in the highway, so we can make arrangements.
Are you in the Palomar store now?
It's debatable. Strip
Yeah,
highway, Park
yeah.
Place.
Oh, that's the other
Highway,
store.
and then,
I used to work in the Palomar. Okay,
I'll get it down.
was there another announcement? Okay, hearing none. Continue on. The club is operated this year at the repeater site, or probably the repeater site is John, WD6 FW8 back there by the camera. Computer technical, Conrad, KG6JEI. The scope editor, who keeps getting our scopes out. We're working the issues completely.
Hey,
We are.
we're way ahead of time, this time.
We did real good, and we have color, and we have reduced price compared to what it used to be a year ago.
And it's better to have full staple team or post office ones. So.
Right, so we're getting a lot of benefit out of this, so when we got this thing nailed down, this is going really good. That's Michelle, W5 NYD. One of our directors is John, WA2OOB. There he is in the back. Other director is Greg, KI6RXX. Al, our membership. He's at the back, W6GNI. Every time I see him, his wife is there. Not a member, Kathy is there for everything he seems to do. One of the things you'll finally make sure that your membership is up to date, no matter how many times you bring him 1 month at a time.
Thank you.
So, there's another month. And he'll be glad to take multiple months, though. That makes him happier. And I'm going to make a side comment. Joe's back there at the table. She has badges that people have ordered. Last meeting, the meeting before, the meeting 2 years ago, maybe, possibly. So if you ordered a badge, maybe,
Some of them are as old as 10 years old.
maybe forgot, or maybe didn't forget, go check with her, and she'll be glad to help make sure it appears.
Sierra model, they don't need no stinking badges.
You don't need no stinking badges. We know who we are. But Joe just does not like carrying them all home back and forth. They have more miles on those than a lot of us.
Maybe she should auction it next time.
There's an idea. Auction them. We'll auction those off. Treasurer, she's not here tonight because she thinks she gets to go do something else. Kim, K6KIW. She has done a great service for us with the books. She keeps us on top of our toes, and she's really doing good for us. Jim, NE60 is our secretary. Did I see him tonight? No. I thought I did. Okay. I see things a lot. I do see Joe. He travels a lot. He's ready to go travel again, I guess. K6KDE, he's our vice president this year. Myself, president, only until the end of the meeting in December. Please hear those words. Only until the end of the meeting in December
2016.
of 2014.
I reiterate, his wife is putting death threats against me now that he is not serve again.
That's okay.
Yeah, this one's not bad, though. The part that I don't like as much is.
Doesn't she like your brownies?
Me, that if I do not do just a little bit less, we're going to have a discussion, and I'm going to be a very, very short-sighted conversation. So, do we have any visitors tonight? Come on, stand and be recognized, please. No. Yes! I know you!
That's not a visitor.
Trustee A6W Nevada.
Nevada? What happened to Australia?
Not yet.
You taking the long way?
Yep.
Okay.
We're waiting for the road to get finished.
I thought maybe you were doing long path. Yes, sir.
Just new hands, checking things out.
We heard about the club. Decided to stop by and see what it's all about.
You got a call sign, location?
KK6NLW.
All right, and what's the community name? All right. Any other visitors tonight? Yeah, one right there.
Hi, I'm Frederick, KK6NOW.
How you doing, Frederick? What area are you from?
From the La Jolla.
Very
So,
good.
I can't talk to anyone here, I can only reach people in LA.
Maybe you can get to Howard Station at least. Maybe he can relay for you.
Yes.
And there is one other guest here that we're going to be learning about right now. And that is Dan Hendricks, gentleman out there at the front. Oh, before we do that, before we get into the presentation, there is a presentation because my brain, as usual, does not know how to work. Does Greg know how to work?
There's a reason there's a whistle code going on over here, people.
I still can't hear. Okay, over the almost 80 years of our club, we've had membership that does many things for us. Some do a lot more than others. Some of us have not achieved those 80 years of the club, or close to it, although some seem to have. Art, could you come here for a moment? Indulge us, please. You woke up this morning, and that was a very good thing, sir. That was a very good thing. Art here has been past officer many places to include president for several years. He likes his retirement, but his retirement seems to be like most retirements. The more retirement you do, the more things you end up with. Amateur radio, got one of them on the list. He likes doing the ATV, he's done that a lot. He sat for, I don't know how many years as a tech, because that's all he needed. And then he just went down and took a test, or two, and passed it. And one day, 30 minutes, hour maybe, went from a tech to a expert. A couple of years ago still. Now, does he use that much? I don't really know, because Art does all these things that he's been doing since 6, 10. Okay? He was fixing radios just barely as he was walking out the door because Dad kept calling him over. Can you do this? Can you help me do that? And doing it on shifts with us. So he's done much more than I did since I was really trying. Anyhow.
Still working.
Well, he's continuing, and they're allowing him to continue, which is a good thing, because I think he would probably argue if he didn't, you know, as much as that is. Art's been very helpful to the club across all these years, as many others have. And he scared us recently. And we don't want him to go anywhere without him being recognized. And we would like to properly recognize him. Palomar Amateur Radio Club, Art McBride, KC6, UQH. Thank you for all your support and dedication throughout the years to the Palomar Amateur Radio Club. You have been a great helper to many, and the club, repeater site, and auctions would not be the same without your extensive knowledge of handling electronics. 73, Palomar Amateur Radio Club, W6, and WG. You could come closer, Brad. You won't
I'll reiterate this. I mean, I might hold a technical chair spot, but all of it's working is because of people like Art, John, all of them have passed. They've set up a wonderful system. They've got thousands of hours.
You need flashback on there?
It all goes to them.
Don't worry about the flash, just back.
Art,
Okay.
Don Johnson is, getting your attention.
No? You have to do something.
All right, look back here for a second.
Use a modern camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also.
Okay, we got it.
Yay.
Thank you very much. Would you like to make your commentary, or would you like to reserve that for another time?
Well, I don't really have much to say. I did what I wanted to do all of my life. I enjoy electronics, doing amateur radio. I really appreciate the plaque. Needs to be. And,
You told him to get closer.
Yeah, but I think you can do that after you done.
I think it's gonna say Greg, get lost.
Please remember that he has forgotten more than I could ever learn. I continue to learn every time I talk with him, with conversations of things that we need to do up on the hill. And it's very hard for me sometimes, because he knows all this, and he has to tone it down to dumb and dumb.
Way to go, Art.
With that, Mr. Dan Hendricks, he's the president of Open Source Maker Labs in San Marcos. He will be giving our presentation today. I will turn on the mic so he can actually enunciate loud enough for some of us to hear.
Okay, is that on?
It's on. Sometimes you can't tell.
All right, good evening. Thanks for the invitation to come and talk with you tonight. Quick introduction. Again, I'm Dan Hendricks. My day job, I'm a civilian engineer with the Department of the Navy, and worked in Old Town with a lot of communications and computer systems. I also retired on the military side of the Navy, 30 years of active reserve. And do we have any folks in here that have done the Mars ship to shore calls? Just put that.
Raise your hand.
Thank you. I say, from being on the wet side of a Mars call, we really appreciate that. That lifeline back home really makes a lot of difference. So really appreciate that. So thanks for everyone that's done that. So that's my day job during the nighttime, since plenty of things to do. I'm starting up a maker lab right here. It's actually in Vista. Actually, we're about 2 miles that way. So we're even closer. So I want to tell you about that and where I think there might be some great connections with amateur radio clubs. So I'll talk a little about the background, the community that's a part of this, the capabilities that we have, and some opportunities for possible collaboration. So a little background, Dennis mentioned Maker Faire earlier. That's a big part of this. You know, they're calling it the Maker Movement now. We've probably all done this all our lives. You know, we've tinkered, we've taken things apart, put it back together, usually in a different way. That's how we've learned over the years, starting as young kids on up to current time. So it's called the Maker Movement now, and people are kind of rediscovering that it's fun to learn. That's how we invent things. That's how we learn. In 2006, the first Maker Faire was held up in the Bay Area in San Mateo. It was a spin-off project from O'Reilly Media. They published a lot of technical books we're probably familiar with. They formed a new company called Maker Media, and they said, hey, let's try this. Let's pull together and see if we can pull together, as they call it, the world's greatest show and tell. And it's a mix between a science fair, a county fair, and a G-rated Burning Man, and thousands of people mixed together. It's just a lot of fun. It's a very family-oriented event. So the first one they had in 2006, since then it's gone worldwide under this Maker Faire franchise. The last one they just had in 2014, they had 130,000 people show up in 2 days. And they stay for the whole day, or sometimes both days. We had our first one here in San Diego, at the Del Mar Fairgrounds in December of 2013. I was part of the core team that put that together. We were hoping for our very first one, hoping to get 2,000 people to show up. And it poured rain that day. And we had 5,200 people showed up, and 139 maker exhibitors. It was a lot of fun. We're in the planning stages for more of these. There's another one not under the Maker Faire brand, but another event coming up on December 6th, probably at Delmar Fairgrounds, for a very similar format, with more of an educational emphasis. And also, we're in active talks with Balboa Park and City of San Diego to have the 2015 Maker Faire, probably in the fall of 2015. So this is what we do in our spare time, pull things together like this. Where do people make things? You know, it used to be we did it in our garages or where we could find a place to work. Schools always had shops, not so much more today. So people are coming together and forming hacker spaces and maker spaces. And it's really just an open community lab with shared equipment, shared tools, but mainly shared knowledge and skills. And we share the whatever. People really want to share their skills and help each other out. And they come together in these places to learn new skills and to build some really interesting projects. Down the left, you see just a photo of what a typical makerspace looks like. It's a combination of what you see in a lot of different shop areas. And on the right is a map from hackerspaces.org. All these spaces are essentially self-identifying, saying, hey, we're here, and it's worldwide. There are hundreds of them that are popping up all around the world. It's a combination of things, obviously, you know, woodworking, metalworking, fabrication, that's the newer things like 3D printing and vacuum forming. Of course, definitely electronics lab, now information technology, computers, hardware and software, media lab for audio and video, media recording and editing. Some will have business incubator offices for actually starting up new businesses from inventions that occur there. And definitely lots of classrooms and conference rooms. But the key thing is you might recognize some of these areas. If you had shop class in high school, they were all distinct. You had the wood shop over here, then maybe another building, there'd be a metal shop, and they really never connected. But in a makerspace, you put them all together because many projects, the real interesting projects, are a combination of these different things. So a little bit about Open Source Maker Lab, or OSML. We're a community-based startup. We really are getting input from the community of what people need. A place to come together and make things, back to that community model of sharing our skills and coming up with some really cool and interesting projects together. It's focused on the needs of really 3 different groups that we're serving. First off, the do-it-yourselfers or explorers. That's just people that do it as a hobby. They like to learn new things and try new things. And they're looking for new opportunities and new avenues to try them. Second area are students, primarily high school and college students. A lot of schools are waking up and changing, going to more project-based learning. They're realizing that we learn best by doing things with our hands, by actually making things. But there's not enough capacity, and frankly, there's not enough experience in some of the newer technologies. So both students are looking for opportunities like this, and also schools are looking for kind of adjunct lab spaces to augment what they're doing with their own programs. And the last category is entrepreneurs. Those are folks that, that's all of us, you know, the American inventor, the American innovator, that has an idea for a new product and needs to do some rapid prototyping. But usually the cost of doing that on your own is too expensive. So a shared workspace with shared equipment where you can take your idea from design to fabrication and on out to production, move it out and start your own company. That's the third area we're serving. We also put a lot of emphasis on STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, kind of those phrases, where we're trying to get that more into today's education at all levels, you know, K through all the way through college and graduate level. So we're building out the lab. We finally found an appropriately zoned space. Long story about other cities around here, but Vista was very accommodating. And talking with them about the business park, they said, "Oh, what you're planning to do?" They understood exactly what we were forming. They said, "You're like a business incubator. You'll fit just fine in the Vista Business Park, in the R&D area. No zoning issues whatsoever." So we just went in without any modifications. We started our lease on August 1st. We've got 4,700 square feet of office and high bay area. We've got air-conditioned design space and classroom area, and then a very large high bay area, which is shown here in the lower right, but it's filling up quickly. So kind of a longer list of what's in the lab: metalworking, woodworking, electronics, computers, mixed all together, along with a classroom and a design space. Some of these things you might have worked with or have heard about. Yeah, 3D printing is very popular. We've got 3 of them now. But it's not just the equipment. It has a nice list of really cool toys and things to learn on, but it's really about the community model. So really, you mix together a unique combination of students and mentors of all ages, inventors, inject some new technology, they come up with some really interesting projects and challenges to build. And you end up with lifelong learning, which feeds the cycles, back to feeding the economic engine, getting back to innovating in America and manufacturing new things in America. Look at all the products and say we kind of slipped into passive consumerism. Well, who invents all the stuff that we enjoy? It's us. So we've got to get back to inventing and making things in this country. So we're doing that with classes and workshops. We have classes in some of the newer equipment we have. If you've never used a 3D printer or a CNC milling machine, we'll give you a class on that, essentially kind of like ground school and flight school, so you can go solo on the newer machines safely. We also, beyond that, have workshops that are more hands-on. There's a little longer duration where you're actually building something and you apply what you've learned in class. So some examples we have, we'll go through the whole computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing, CNC milling and printing sequence. 3D printing, actually start with a CAD file and you can either run it to a milling machine to cut it out or you can run it to a 3D printer. You start with the same original design, which is really cool. Plenty of electronics, got quite a good set of test equipment that we like to use there. Some of the microcontrollers, you may have heard about Arduinos and Raspberry Pis, very popular. And I've actually seen a lot of amateur radio groups using those as some of the automation for your systems. Let's see, programming, software development, and virtual and cloud computers in the higher end information technology. We're going to be doing some of that as well. So we've already had our first workshop 2 weeks ago. There's a middle school in Vista that's been totally transformed. It used to be Washington Middle School, now it's the Vista Innovation and Design Academy. And they're taking the Stanford design thinking process and turning the whole school inside out, connecting all the subjects together to make it more relevant to the kids. And they realized that making this hands-on learning is a big part of that. So they came to us and said, hey, could we do a workshop for the teachers to kind of help bring that into their new way of teaching? So we did, they brought the entire faculty, all 40 teachers, including the PE teacher and the librarian, was there, the whole staff. We did it in 3 sections. And we did a format of a seminar, kind of explaining the maker movement for an hour, and then did a hands-on workshop, learning to solder. Out of the 40 teachers, adult teachers, only 2 had ever soldered. Only 2. When they left, 40 had learned how to solder. Done it. So, anyway, some of the adults were saying at the end of the day, they said, I didn't think I could do it. Yes, you can do this. But the point is not just to learn how to solder, but the point of this example was to do a hands-on workshop and show how you can tie that in with the learning and how powerful that is as a way of teaching and exploring. We also had some college students from Cal State. They have a thing called their STEM ambassadors. These are college students that are in technical fields that go out to the high schools and the middle schools and just tell the kids there what they're doing, explain what the career fields are, what they're learning in college. We had several college students in the mix with us to give a third perspective. So it was a really good session. And the little picture on the right was one of the teachers. She took a picture at the end of the day of the notes she made from her class. And this is a little MakerBot, 2 little blinking LED eyes that she made. And she put this picture up on the web. This is her first tweet. That was the first thing she put on Twitter. Was, look what I did today. We've also done some internships already. We've done some partnering with High Tech High in North County. And great, they're project-based learning, so this is a really great matchup. In fact, we're probably going to be doing at least 4 more interns this fall semester as well. And these are semester long for the seniors. On the upper right there is Ted Hunter. He did our first large project. We had a small CNC mill that didn't have a chip shield or vacuum system on it. These things are really messy. They just blow dust all over the place. So we came up with a project it was a full cycle, come up with a design and manufacture and test it out. So he did a lot of research on the internet, and I really gave him a challenge. I said, okay, we're going to learn a little physics here. How thick does the chip shield need to be to protect you from a flying bit? So I got a little help from his dad on the physics, but he did it and figured it out, came up with a good design, and made it right there in the shop. For the connection to the vacuum, well, no such fittings existed. No problem. We learned how to use CAD and 3D printed custom fittings that fit onto the vacuum hose. We also did had a booth in Maker Faire. We had another 4 interns last fall that were helping us get ready for Maker Faire for our exhibit. We had a 10 by 20 exhibit there to show off OSML. And so I kind of posed the question to them of how do you actually show in a large exhibit like this what OSML is all about. And they did some brainstorming on the left, came up with some ideas, a lot of whiteboarding. They came up with the idea of kind of like 4 themes to show in videos. So they said, let's make a video wall. So there we go. So cutting metal, some welding, and some electronics work. And we produced a 4-screen video wall that kind of showed the different aspects of making. So some opportunities with amateur radio clubs. We'd like to have you do some guest presentations on amateur radio topics. If you're looking to recruit new members, we would love to partner with you and give that opportunity. And just share more things with the community. It's another avenue for you. If you have any projects that you'd like to collaborate with us on, I've seen on the web a lot of folks are doing some antenna builds. We talked about that earlier tonight. We do have some good steel and aluminum welding capability, cutting capability. So anything on the fabrication side, we can definitely help you with that. Software-defined radios. If anyone's into that and would like to do some projects on that or do some teaching on that, come and talk to us. We'd love to get into that. And let's say teaching in particular. If you would like to volunteer to teach in classes or teach classes on a paid basis, definitely would welcome. Again, this is, sharing all the knowledge that we have here and passing it on to the next generations. So next steps for us. We just finished a crowdfunding campaign. It did really well. We exceeded the goal. We ended up with $24,000 collected in about 4 weeks. So there's enough seed money to get us going for the next phase. We've got a lot of equipment that just arrived. We're uncrating and setting it up. And also we have a lot of benches and workbenches and project storage areas that we're building right there in the lab. We're also developing course catalogs and our schedule for this upcoming quarter. Right now we've got 10 adjunct instructors that they have day jobs too, but they are in all kinds of technical fields. Really great set of folks. It's going to be some really incredible courses we're going to offer. But we also have room for more. So if any of you are interested in teaching and sharing, please see me after class. We'd love to have you aboard. So I'm going to keep it kind of short and fast, but again, appreciate the chance to speak tonight and look forward to meeting you and talking with you some more. Thank you.
So in very simple, like the charging stations, remote machine on, do you have qualifications required prior to the machines?
Yes, question, qualification requirements. For general shop tools, no, we have a general safety class you pass to cover the whole lab, but for specific things that are a little bit newer, like CNC or welding, we'll call it like high energy things, yes, there's a specific class. I'll give you like kind of a check flight on that, and then you can go solo after you pass that class.
The second question is, you have other parts for various machines that are got lots of very small resistors, stuff like that. Would you be willing to take donations as something possible?
Sure, absolutely. Variety of things. Donation of parts, supplies, materials, equipment to help people make things, to explore things, definitely. Be glad to take that. Any other questions?
Why are we calling it open source?
Okay, good question. Why are we calling it open source? It's not just open source software, you're probably familiar with that, but open source is, in general terms, a way of sharing information under more of an open license, not just standard copyright or patents. It's still protected, but it gives the originator a lot more flexibility as to how they share that information or what they do with it. But it includes open source software, but also open source hardware, like the Arduino, Raspberry Pi, some of these newer things. Or actually, the hardware design itself is under an open source license, which allows people to copy it, add to it, make to it, modify it, hack it, and do other things to it. There's open science. Scientists that are exchanging research, they're finding that kind of the publishing houses have become a vertical monopoly. So they're publishing their scientific research under different, usually a Creative Commons license, which allows easier sharing and more horizontal collaboration, which was the original intent of the research. Open courseware, has anyone heard of that? A lot of universities are publishing all of their curricula, videos of the lectures and presentations online. And it's not for credit, but the information is there and accessible to everyone. So we're looking at open source in the general, more broader term of mixing all those together. We're not exclusively open source. We have Windows, we have some of the commercial software as well, but we like to use open source wherever it's possible and appropriate.
When do you think this is going to be up and running?
Hoping to be up and running by the end of this month. It depends on how fast we can build things out.
And what's the schedule during the day? Is it going to be from 8 in the morning until then?
A good question for schedule. Initially, it's going to be evenings and weekends, because myself and most of our volunteer and adjunct instructors are only available on evenings and weekends. But as we grow, hopefully it'll be open during the day as well.
Are you licensed as a technical institute, or what is the facility?
No, we're not licensed as a tech. We're not offering a certification in any particular area. So a lot of the things that we're working on, they're really so new there aren't any certifications out there. Is there a particular?
You have a business that's classified as something.
It's I guess you call it a research and development company. So it's actually an S corporation, it's not incorporated, and I guess our primary line of business is research and development. Got to put it into a particular category.
Is there another one of these anywhere south of this?
Yeah, no, are there any others around? Actually, we're the only one in North County. There is a similar one called Fab Lab. They're in the Kearney Mesa area. Katie Rask runs that. Look at Fab Lab San Diego, Fabrication Laboratory, or Fab Lab San Diego. They have some of the similar capabilities. And then down at Brain Boulevard, near I-5 and I-8, is Maker Place. They're more of an industrial type. They have really strong metalworking, woodworking, but not so much on the electronics and not much software. So we're kind of specializing more on kind of the electronics and hardware software area. But in north of Kearney Mesa, there's nothing around. And the nearest one north of us is Riverside.
There's a very small solid modeling machine that they bought several years ago and doesn't work very well, and they've had a lot of troubles with. Do you rent your services out for companies to build prototypes and things like that?
Do we rent out for other companies to prototype? Not yet. It kind of depends on how the capacity goes, but we're trying to stay away from production work and leave the equipment. Onesie Tuesdays? No, might do that, sure. Okay.
Two questions. For people who want to get involved, is there a fee structure, like for courses, as you said, there were courses being given, or how does that work? Is there a...
If you're for someone to teach a class?
Well, no, for
take,
somebody to take classes.
Yeah, they're on our website. We're building out the course catalog, but they'll range anywhere from $30 to $80, depending on how long it is or how extensive it is. Some might have an additional material fee if it's like extensive.
And that was the second question. Do you have a website address?
Yes, it's opensourcemakerlabs.com.
I wonder if you have access to facilities, is it like a membership fee that you're asking?
Yes. Yeah, especially as a membership model, kind of like joining a gym for membership, except you exercise your brain instead of your body here. And they range. We have it's a variety of different prices for an individual membership or a family membership. Students, military, and seniors are discounted quite a bit, so we're encouraging all groups to join in. But it's a monthly membership base, and then the classes are additional to that. Some seminars and classes are for free.
Do you have an house on the website?
Yes.
You have tours available?
Sure, we'll do tours anytime. Again, evenings and weekends. Just shoot me an email. I'll be glad to just make sure I'm there.
Okay, the email address is on the website?
Yes. And forget I say either info@opensourcemakerlabs.com or me, Dan, D-A-N, at opensourcemakerlabs.com. Be glad to show you around.
When you do open, would you be able to supply materials for projects for factory quantity?
Yes, for the materials for the projects, yes, we'll have those on hand. Depending on the nature of the project, some of those are just kind of like included in the membership. If it's an extensive job, and they'll be for sale right there on the spot. So we'll have a supply of maker materials right there. So if there's late night things when you just can't get it, we'll have a I call it like a 7-Eleven for makers, we'll have some things right there.
For people who want to build things and take the appropriate coursework, will you have some sort of a scheduling system so you can get on a specific machine or make pre-arrangements to access those devices?
Yeah, definitely. As things pick up, we'll probably set up a calendaring system so you can make a reservation on a different machine. Looking at a lot of other maker spaces that start up, when they get really, really busy, and they'll start doing that. That's when it's time to start buying more equipment. So.
Right.
And that's what I emphasize too, that some spaces will get into, like, members will start doing production work. They'll have a business that they're running out in makerspace, and it kind of ties up the machines. We're really trying to stay away from that and really emphasize the learning, the research and development, the prototyping. If someone has, starts a business going and they're ready to go into production, they should probably move out into a production.
But how are you going to regulate that? I mean, what is the mechanism?
We haven't really set a metric yet, but I think initially it'd be pretty obvious if someone's like always on the machine and there's a line there, it's like, okay, congratulations, you're a company, move on. So
You'll figure it out.
So we created a company, we created jobs.
Do you focus on certain disciplines, or you leave it to the person to build whatever type of project they want?
Do we focus on certain disciplines or leave it to the person to kind of develop the project? We'll definitely kind of seed the area in terms of electronics, hardware, software. That's my background. It's kind of our strong point we're seeing here. But we're definitely open to people coming up with ideas. I've got one person we're talking with right now who wants to build a Babbage engine, a mechanical computer for museums. It's 6 foot cubed. So okay, so we're starting to see, can he take a chunk of our space and build a 6 foot cube, mechanical computer? Okay, we'll give it a try.
There's only about 200,000 parts in the Babbage engine.
Yeah, we're like, go for it. Be a great community project.
A lot of people, maybe some here, don't know that much about 3D printing. I wonder how many people here don't know that much about 3D printing, they don't even know what it is or what it can do. Does everybody already know that?
I'll give you the 2-minute explanation.
So where are we at?
Okay, 3D printing, there's lots of different methods. The most common method is extruding a reel of plastic, just like a big fishing line. But really, as I mentioned, you start with a computer file, 3-dimensional model file, and convert it into a whole bunch of little, they call it G-code, machine codes, like X, Y, Z moves. So a 3D printer, think of it just like an inkjet printer that works in 3 dimensions. So instead of ink spraying out, it's just squirting out hot plastic in real thin layers, one layer at a time. So it'll do the XY plane and print out just like, maybe a couple thousandths of an inch. Then go back and come up a little bit and do the next layer, the next layer. It takes a while. It could take, 30 minutes to a couple of hours to print an object. But that's called additive manufacturing, where you're adding material together.
Has anybody doing the 3D printing mixed silver epoxy along with the plastic to make PC boards, multi-layer?
That's a good question. I've not seen printing of PCB boards. There's definitely some, again, related work using CNC machines to mill out a clad board, cut away the copper.
That still doesn't do multi-layer.
Yeah, it's a single layer.
How large an object can these printers